A titanic battle of universal proportions looms on the horizon as Broly looks to unleash a power never before seen in the Dragon Ball universe. However, will Broly be targeting other individuals who aren't Goku and Vegeta? Is it possible for Whis to be involved in any physical altercation against Broly in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super movie? On today's video, we will be discussing the potential of having Whis involved against Broly in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super 2018 movie. Next. With the latest trailer of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie having to be revealed, many fans within the Dragon Ball community are now begging the question, what is the true extent of Broly's powers having to be seen in all three of these trailers, in having to go up against Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza, that makes him so much of a threat that seemingly enough he seems almost as indestructible as he's being painted out to be? Well, in the latest Dragon Ball Super Broly trailer number 3, we saw a little bit of a snippet of one of the most important Dragon Ball characters to ever debut within the Dragon Ball Super series, having to be shown in motion for a brief moment. But what does this signify when having to look at Broly's destructive nature and what he's going to do against Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza? Now, when we go back and look at everything Whis is capable of, everything Whis had displayed in Dragon Ball Super, it's as easy to say that right now there is no current character outside of the Grand Priest and the other angels who reside with their gods of destruction that cannot compare to the likes of Whis. No mortal with any kind of experience, which includes Goku, Jiren, Broly, Vegeta, Frieza, or any other, can even remotely be on a comparative level to somebody like Whis. But that's only having to take into account everything that Whis had presented within the Dragon Ball Super series. Of course, we know the destructive capabilities of what a destroyer can do, such as a god of destruction, even though we haven't seen any other god of destruction in action besides Beerus, and even then he wasn't using his full power. When taking that, we have someone like Whis who stands on a much higher platform than even a god of destruction, who we've seen in Battle of Gods demonstrate a small portion of his power by one-shotting a god of destruction by simply chopping him in the neck. Now, when we take a look at Broly in this movie, it's safe to say that Broly is going to put out a power that Goku and Vegeta have never seen before, a seemingly limitless like power. He's not indestructible by any means, because just like many other characters, every singular warrior does have a weakness, so Broly by no means is indestructible. However, his power feels almost as if it's continuously growing, never ending, and with that we've seen in the trailer how there was a bit of motion involving Broly and Whis, which led to many people in the fandom speculating that there is going to be some kind of engagement between Broly and Whis versus Broly. Now, when looking at it through my perspective and having to judge what I've seen in this trailer, by no means do I think we are going to see Whis versus Broly at all. If you look at the logics behind this fight, if as an example Whis were to fight Broly at any given stage, I think it's fair to assume and say that Broly would have no chance in even touching Whis, let alone causing any physical harm or damage to someone like Whis, given his abilities, given his intelligence, and given his power. Now, by no means am I implying that someone like Whis or any of the angels are indestructible by nature, because as I've stated before, Whis had told Goku that even he cannot compare to the likes of the Daishinkan, the Grand Minister, who in fact is stated to be one of the strongest characters to ever exist in the Dragon Ball franchise right now, aside from Zeno. But even if, when looking at it from a hypothetical point of view, if Broly versus Whis were to happen, how exactly would it go down? I think it would be the end result of Broly either A, having to unleash a destructive power enough to cause Whis to simply move out of the way, or just as we've seen in Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F, just as Whis and Beerus were spectating the fight between Frieza and Goku, Whis and Beerus simply observe the battle between the Saiyans until Broly physically gets involved by having to further challenge either the god of destruction himself, Beerus, Beerus or going after Whis directly. And even then, I'm going on record and saying if Whis were to fight Broly, Whis would dominate Broly in every sense of the word, absolutely no competition in comparison. Whis wins. But the concept behind Whis having to accept Broly is a different substance, because in the trailer we've seen how Goku had uttered out the words, "You ain't a bad guy, I can tell." He isn't fighting because he wants to fight. So maybe this is something deeper than what we're seeing on the surface. Maybe Whis is one of the very few characters that sees right through Broly in understanding him in such a way to where he takes an interest upon Broly in having to perfect his powers and looking at him from a different perspective. Surely enough, we can look at Broly as a villainous character, which he should be portrayed that way and remain that way in this movie. It looks like Broly isn't the person that we're all assuming him to be, this dangerous, malicious character who's looking to destroy every living thing within the universe as a means of his destructive power. But perhaps maybe there's more emotional damage to Broly that only someone like Whis can accept by having to sprint into action and showing him some sort of revelation for him to awaken. Now in turn, that could mean that eventually Broly could convert in being a good guy down the line, and that is something that I personally, from a subjective bias, don't want to see. But I don't see Broly having to fight Whis in any sense, because if that were to happen, we are going to bear witness to the complete annihilation of Broly on the big screen. And it doesn't matter how you look at it, you cannot compare Broly to Whis in terms of power when we don't know the full capabilities of what Whis can do. Other than Whis having to provide substance in the anime very briefly against Goku and Beerus, that is an extension to say that it is enough to assume that Whis at this current point in time cannot be matched by any of the mortals. And yes, despite how you want to look at it, Broly is one of those characters that falls into that category. So when looking at all three of these Dragon Ball Super Broly movie trailers, especially trailer number 3, in my assumption, I think that Whis and Beerus are going to simply observe the battle between Broly and the Saiyans, Broly and Frieza. I don't see Beerus or Whis having to be physically involved in this battle, as I don't see Broly being stupid enough to go as far as to provoke or even have any ill intentions on battling someone like Beerus, despite him not knowing who he is, or in fact, if he had heard of Beerus before, I don't see Broly even having the gall to go that far in challenging those specific characters, let alone even having to battle Whis during that moment. I think, in my opinion, Whis stomps, and I think it's safe to say if Beerus were to be provoked, Hakai is all that's needed to get rid of Broly. Although, universally speaking, it would be a defining moment to see what it would be like if Beerus were to fight Broly in some way, shape, or form in this movie. Having to go a step beyond that would reduce the status of Beerus if Broly were to challenge Whis directly. Wouldn't it make more sense for Broly to target Beerus or even have any altercation with Beerus first, instead of having to overlook him and going a step beyond that to challenge someone even stronger than the Hakaishin? It would be the only rational way to approach that given situation. However, if there's any role that I think Whis is going to play in this movie, it's going to be the fact that I think that Whis is going to see something in Broly or study Broly in such a way to where Broly is unleashing such a power that the Saiyans currently, Goku and Vegeta, are not accustomed to, that I think Whis is going to further educate Goku and Vegeta in emphasizing the power that Broly has. And I think if anything, Whis may see something in Broly that Goku and Vegeta and Frieza do not. Because remember, Whis is a very intelligent person. He is the person that brings the natural best out of people, as we've seen when he trained both Goku and Vegeta on Beerus's planet. So Whis does have that capability in harnessing someone's emotions, in allowing them to grow as warriors, as we've seen throughout all of Dragon Ball Super. So if the chances are there for someone like Whis to accept Broly or to take Broly into consideration in allowing Goku and Vegeta to understand that he may not be as malicious and evil as they're painting him out to be, but more or less a broken character from the inside, and there's lots of fixing and corrections to be made for Broly to gain a better understanding. But that is only if they want to go in a direction to where Broly remains in Dragon Ball Super. And right now, it's very clouded on Broly's future, on whether or not he's going to remain, or if in this movie he indefinitely will be killed killed off at some given point by some given character. And if anyone is going to imagine someone killing him, it is by no means going to be Whis. However, another thing that I can see Whis doing is having to play the role of reversing time or having any sort of time manipulation, just as we've seen in Dragon Ball Z Resurrection of F. Because Whis does come in handy if a catastrophe of biblical proportions were to occur. Only then could I see Whis be involved, but at this given point I don't see Whis having any sort of physical altercation with anybody involved other than him having to be there simply to observe. He may have some dialogue for Goku and Vegeta, and maybe even for Broly directly, but by no means do I see Whis even getting physically involved to the point where he fights, because then it'll be game over for whoever he goes up against. Which is why I think that if Broly were to challenge anyone outside of Goku, Vegeta, and Frieza, it ought to be Beerus, just because it makes sense. And I think that it's been long overdue in seeing Beerus in action, because we haven't seen Beerus really do anything since Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods or the Dragon Ball Super BOG story arc, and the fact that Beerus had been kept on the sidelines for far too long, it would only make sense to have him involved then. But even if that were to occur, how exactly would you pit up Beerus versus Broly in this particular situation? That is why I think we will not be seeing that as a means instead of seeing Ultra Instinct or a concept like Fusion having to be involved instead. But in the end, I would like to get your thoughts in the comment section below as to how you guys personally feel about Whis versus Broly in the upcoming Dragon Ball Super movie. Do you guys believe that it is physically possible for a fight like this to happen, or more or less, do you believe that it is even logical to have Whis fight Broly in this movie considering both of their statuses? And what kind of a role do you guys see Beerus and Whis having in this movie, being that they weren't mainly emphasized in this movie as being key points? However, with them even having to be here, I think that they are going to have major roles in the movie, especially in being background characters, setting the grounds for more things to come once Dragon Ball Super returns. Let me know your feedback down in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching once more. If of course you guys are new to this channel and love Dragon Ball, hit that subscribe button, leave a like down below if you guys are excited for this movie, and if you guys want to be a part of the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie ticket giveaway, I will be giving away tickets randomly on my Twitter. All you guys have to do is comment down below letting me know two things: your favorite Broly moment of all time, and where do you see Broly's direction going after this movie is over and done with. Make sure you guys follow me at Twitter at UnrealEntGaming to be notified whenever the giveaway happens and who wins the tickets and further giveaways on my Twitter, so make sure you guys follow me on there. Thank you all so much for watching, guys. Once more, tune back in, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.
This is the legendary Super Saiyan. Before I destroy you, I'm going to need you to subscribe to UnrealEntGaming and turn on notifications to never miss a single upload. Also, follow UnrealEntGaming on these social media platforms. And if you don't, I'll destroy you along with your entire planet.
What's Broly?
Frieza.
Uh-oh.
Prepare to die!
Hey.